What in the fantastic times is going on? I think I'm in. Present or invite? Can't tell. I don't know who I am. If I am. Boom, there I am. Bye. Now that you know, or you don't know, I don't know. Where in the hell is everything? I want you to know I'm happy for you. I wish nothing but the best for you both. Okay, this is LRC. That's Lawrence Ross Clark. This is going to be a stream about stupidity. My stupidity to be the exact and first and foremost. Let's go to my channel, see if we have anything going on here. There we go. Okay, we are. In fact, boom. So we'll mute this. All right, so you can hear me as a black screen, and we're going to keep this the way it is with just a voice for now. I like that. It's very cool. What's been going on with me for a while is I'm a basket case. A long time ago, I got thrown off a horse and I landed on my head. I mean, that's just simply what happened. I would have played football at some level. I mean, I did play in high school, and when I got kicked out of high school, that was the end of that. I literally got kicked out of high school by the football coach and beaten on the way out. Coach Nelson, he decided he didn't want me there anymore after I piped up as a fat boy and called him some unnecessary verbiage. He had already hit me by that point, but at that point, he started to beat me. So, Coach Nelson, as you know, I've always told everybody since that day, I had no right to say what I said, but both of us were put in a bad situation by Adam. You put me in front of Adam. He put you in front of what I did. Well, Mark Molesky can attest to that. He was there. He saw it all, and he was almost the one that got it the worst. But then he and I both lost our Jefferson days that day. So what happened? Well, jeez. I fell off a horse. I ruined my back. I've been on medication pretty much since. You're talking about a full run on a quarter horse, and the saddle slipped, and I landed on concrete. I'm what, 37, 38, 39 years out from that, and it still hurts today. I swear to God, it still hurts every day. And I felt the other day, and of course, I have some real bad chest pain, but just add to everything else, and I just average it out. So, the whole point here behind this discussion is kind of tell you where I came from and where I went. So after getting hurt, falling off a horse, I went over to Orlando and I tried to work in convenience stores and stuff like that and tried to get a job doing different stuff as an OPC, outside personal contractor, contact or contractor, I guess, for timeshare. And, you know, we were selling Disney tickets and stuff. So it was just, I was trained at an early age into the hustle. Even before that, you know, moving dime bags. I mean, I'm not going to lie. This is the late 70s, early 80s. And just the hustle that was going on back then, especially here in the Tampa Bay area, was what it was. So, needless to say, I learned to hustle. I was hustling timeshare. I was hustling Disney tickets. Even, you know, my foster brother, idiot as he is, the thief incarnate, who, you know, stole what, the fucking uh PPC money from the government. I mean, come on, check into Redline. That son of a bitch has a bunch of people's money, and I don't like it. But he has mine too, and my uncle gave that to him. Without going to beat around that horse too much yet, let's go back to Larry and let's keep going with the ouch. What is this? Um, the family situation. Well, as Robert is a figure in this, I'll keep him in it, even though I'm not a fan of his at this moment. His brother went to jail for selling a bunch of those tickets. His real brother in real life, Eddie. He got, I guess, stacks of Disney tickets, and then there was a federal uh, case against him and indictments, etc. And he went to big boy jail. Came out, is doing really well now. Eddie's actually kind of a cool guy. Spent time with him over the years when I was living with Rob over there. Um, Rob's always been a thief. He worked socks and such and was taking money out of the deposits. He worked at smoking stuff, and he literally was selling, I mean, pipes and tobacco and stuff, putting the money in his own pocket. It was ridiculous. The beer steins to this day that were given to my dad for Halloween holidays and birthdays, etc. The Budweiser collection and others were stolen by Rob and given to my dad from that store, as he stole so many other things. The guy from Crazy Like a Fox used to go in there. It's at the Florida Mall in Orlando. But Rob, he was a foster child out of the Children's Home of Tampa, and I always kind of I turned a cheek. I'll be honest with you. I thought he's corporate America and he's screwing them. Boy, hadn't he been screwed until, well, he was part of screwing me, and then I don't really have much sympathy for him anymore. Just like I don't Larry. So with that being told, I'm over in Orlando, and then I'm trying to work things out, and I decide that I can't be over there anymore because Rob is just a criminal. And I tell my parents that. I tell them straight up. I mean, living with this guy and doing what's going on here, it's a bad scene. Can I come back to Tampa? Let me come back. I'll whatever I got to say, I'll do. I mean, and the trade off was come back to Tampa and work with them and help them out and get my real estate license. So I did, and they helped me do that, and I actually became a an asset to their office. And whether or not anybody wants to admit it today, my mom knows that. And when I stayed with her for the last couple years of her life, we discussed it. She discussed how much of an asset I actually was. Both her and my father, knowing that I was, were actually willing to go and take their motorhome and tour the country before my dad died. They weren't going to go to the villages. They had thought about staying up there in campgrounds and stuff, but they wanted to see other parts of the country before they made any decisions. So certainly my mom had appreciated me, and I don't think that she shared that with everybody the way she should have, but she certainly did with me. Now, there were glimmers of the opposite from her because she had an alcohol problem, and mom is a drinker, always was. And when she'd get drinking, she'd get mean. Just the story. And there were some times where she called my sister and said that I was being mean to her or this or that. I was being very much a caregiver and saying you can't drink alcohol if you don't eat your food. And she thought I was being bossy, and she thought I was being rude, and she thought I was being, I can't even remember the name she called me. She said, she literally taught me a word towards the end there where I said, "Why won't you just do what you're supposed to? Why are you doing this to me? Is there a reason? What do you call this?" And she said, "I'm obstinate." I went, obstinate? She's just being a baby, I guess. I looked it up right then, and I mean, just uh, she was a wall. She was refusing to get along, refusing to go along. So, needless to say, I go get my license and work for my parents for several years. And then Larry comes into the picture with my sister. And lo and behold, the the fact of the matter is Larry asked me to loan him money many times over. And even when I didn't have money, he had me writing him checks over and over again. And as this went on, I literally had, I guess, close to 40 or $50,000 I was thinking that he owed me, but I was just going to go ahead and say, all right, well, we got to make him a better businessman. We got to build his business up before he can afford to pay me. And I even reconciled that with him. So he had my friends working for him. I even worked for him at a time. And then along comes Katrina. All right. My dad dies, and then there's a storm. And lo and behold, Larry asked me if I will drive out to New Orleans with him. I didn't even thought about it, and I certainly didn't want to, but I did. And I went out there and got a bunch of work for him. And then I didn't get paid. When I came back and I found out that he was in debt to another loan shark, as he had completely, and I mean without a fucking doubt, this guy has just been, one after another, uh, tied to loan sharks. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on? Here, you can't pay me the money you owe me from New Orleans after going there on your request. I wasn't looking for work. I was working in real estate. I had things in my own. Well, going there actually took me out of a position where I was going to capture the business from my parents. My mom and dad were going to leave this to me, but when I took off to help you, then mom decided she was going to sell the business to someone else. Why did that happen? And then when I came back, you wouldn't give me my own money because I was asking you for money so I could give it to mom and say, look, I'll even give you some money for the business. But no, you told me I had to go to Pete at Renew It, your loan shark, and ask him to reduce his bill for the equipment Clark brought out there 3 weeks after I hit the ground and got the business going. So then all the equipment that we had out there and then other equipment, he just left running. He didn't even care about it. He brought his own equipment and put it out there. So the equipment that you had borrowed from Pete to bring out there originally, it was left running because you took me off the jobs and Clark never showed up. So then you send me back to Florida and I get a bunch of jobs in Florida, same I did in New Orleans. And when I get to Florida and get all these jobs, a whole complex full of roofs that have collapsed into 4 units on each building. Actually, it was 2 stories, so it was 8 units in each building. Okay, fucking 1, 2, 3. No, yeah, it was 4 units in each hallway. So it was 4 kitchens in the back. So okay, so they backed up. So it was 8 kitchens in each building, 4 units on each side. So that's what it was. And we got all that paperwork, and Joe Bouchard, a guy I'd never met, he had nothing to do. He wasn't your brother-in-law. He wasn't owed money from New Orleans. You give him that job and he throws everything away. And he costs you not only that, but you never got any of those kitchens. He cost you a ton of money. And somehow or another, you convinced yourself because I was hurt and I was on medication and because I was playing with music and I had smoked some cannabis and stuff that you should believe him. By the way, he was a supplier of cannabis after that for employees of your company, from what I'm told. So you're blaming me for things that didn't go wrong, but you're saying they could go wrong. So you're just going to stop it. And then you actually hire people that were doing what you're blaming me for. And then things go wrong and you're still hiring them and keeping them on. It went on forever. And all my equipment disappeared between Joe Bouchard, Clark Welsh, and Nick, Clark's little protege. And a bunch of stuff, I'm told, went to Mike Chang, and Pete at Renew It was a fence to sell equipment through him. Like, literally, I don't know where all my stuff went, but I know you never paid me a dime for it. Larry Clark, you never paid me 1 red cent for all of my belongings. You kept it for yourself. Every penny, every dime, every nickel, everything. And did you ever pay me for New Orleans? No, I went to New Orleans. I went there without question to help you out. I went there and left my house, and my house got put into foreclosure a couple years after this. And you didn't even pay me my money there for all the equipment. You pretended like my sister had put you in such a bad financial situation. You never blamed yourself. You never looked in the mirror that you were actually hustling all this bullshit through loan sharks, buying and selling cars, trying to figure out if you could buy, invest in real estate. You bought crypto coin. You got a bunch of Bitcoin that I believe you still have, and you're hiding. So if you're hiding Bitcoin, Your Honor, I would hope that he would find this out and make it due and owed to me, because you took all of my equity and you took all of my back and my shoulders, my torn rotator cuffs, and turned it into a benefit for you and a detriment to me. You bloody stole from me everything I've ever owned. Now tell me that's not true, and tell me how it's not true, and then tell me why in the hell anybody, and I'm asking anybody, should ever trust you. And why was I the one that kept putting you over? Pretty stupid of me. Maybe it was the short term memory when I forgot what a pig in shit I was for dealing with you. I was rolling around in a slop because you were rolling around with the real dirtbags of society. Not the guys smoking a little cannabis, but you were rolling around with the liars, the cheats, the thieves, the fucking literal loan sharks who were charging you 5% every 10 days. And then to this day, you still owe 60 grand to Scott, the title agent down off of Zeal. What is going on in your brain where you think you can make all these bad decisions, attribute them to everybody else, and then just tell me, hey, why don't you just forget about it? That was 20 years ago. Why don't you move on with your life? Despite the fact that a girlfriend jumped off the building because you lied to her face and told her that no, Scott didn't get me the equipment. No, Scott didn't have any equity in it. No, Scott wasn't owed any money from New Orleans. No, Scott's just a liar. And Scott's stealing your money too. You told her that and she jumped off a building. Okay. And then you tell other people, like my mother, that I'm not owed anything, that I just have big stories. And it must be because of all the trouble I've had with my back and medicine and smoking marijuana that I don't tell the truth. When the fact is, you were a liar. Lawrence Ross Clark, you were the biggest liar of them all. And you know you were a liar because mens rea, you literally fell into your own trap. You brought me to court for eviction. You brought up no controversy. And when you had zero controversy, the judge looked at me and I said, I have controversy. This man has robbed, cheated, and stole me and taken away my good name from me and my family. They don't even understand who I am or what I've created because of this man and his deceitful ways. He even lied to my sister, his own wife, the mother of his four boys. He's lied to my four nephews repeatedly, telling them that I'm just making a big deal out of my contribution and that he works 80 hours a week and they should be able to see that I'm just a liar who never did anything. In fact, reducing my contributions to less than a month or two working for him, when the actual truth of the matter is 8 to 10 years combined, literally working for him. So I don't know why he wants to just diminish me and put me down, but he always has. He's never stopped. It continues to happen. So after taking all the money in New Orleans, I literally put a Google review up on Restore All right after I found out that Larry was getting remarried. After my sister divorced him and they worked out a deal, he's paying her $2,000 a month for 20 years. I had worked out a deal where he paid her $3,500 a month for 10 years, $2,500 a month for 5, and $2,000 a month for 5. That would have been best for all of them, and everybody would have still been involved. But because Michelle, my sister, wouldn't take that deal, Larry ostracized me, and Michelle ostracized me for getting involved in a divorce when she got far less in the outcome than she would have with an attorney when I actually had negotiated exactly what I said: 20 years, 3,510, 2,505, 2005. 2005. Isn't that interesting? That's when my father passed. My sister would have had $2,000 for 5 years at the end of it all. She'd be right where she is right now, but have gotten a lot more in the past to show for it. That's what her little brother set up for. And that was setting her up with the money I generated. So, little sister, big sister, older sister of mine, you treated me like shit. And I am the one who has provided for you and your family. Don't be misconstruing that. Sure, Larry worked, but he worked from a place of advantage I gave him. He didn't work from the disadvantage he'd left you all in after New Orleans, owing Pete. He didn't leave you in the disadvantage after New Orleans, owing for that brand new truck and this brand new house. He didn't leave you with that disadvantage, did he? No, he didn't have to because he stole all my equipment to pay for it. Are you fucking serious? So now here we go. Here we go again down that broken road of, well, why do you come back for it now? Well, because he blamed you, sis, the whole time. He always said it was your fault. You were working at Pier 1 only so you could get a discount to spend all his money to buy stuff. That was his legitimate story. So why did I get a gun put in my face? I think because him and Pete were colluding to rob me. Pete knew that was my equipment, and Larry told him he was just going to fence it through him. I guess I don't know what happened there, but I know my equipment went through there. I know it all kept going to Pete's even after he never needed Pete again. Oh, Pete's fixing it. This equipment's brand new. Why is equipment going to Pete's? Pete's, you're borrowing money from the guy, you cocksucker. That's what Larry was doing with my equipment. That's why he locked me out of it. That's why Tiffany jumped off a building, because the more we tried to count it and account for it, the more they hid it from me, even eventually putting up a wall and then a whole nother building. He rented a whole nother building and said he had it for people's contents, but he brought the equipment there. He hid my equipment from me until I found out about the building. Oh, it's out on jobs. We're working, blah, blah, blah. No. He hid the equipment from me. Again, mens rea. That's why I brought Emil Grenier in, because this is systemic. Emil has seen him do similar shit since then and knows that that was a fact back then. He discussed it with other people who had told him. I understand it, can attest for whatever he has to attest to. But from his words to my ears, he understands that's exactly what happened and that my shit was sold off to pay bills or to put Larry in a better position to cover his family without me being colluded in the family, regardless of being the procuring cause of all of this. Now, my mom died, and I did tell her all this over the last couple of years. And Don, when he put my sister and I out of the trust, well, 5% each, he put Larry in at 15%. And then my mom kind of came to and started realizing that this guy was railroading her and putting himself into the front seat. He basically had a lawyer call me and say, or write a letter to me, or wrote a letter that said this Finn guy was going to take my inheritance away from me. He literally put a letter that said he was going to take anything I had coming to me over this whole Nambla shit that I had nothing to do with. My sister brought it all up to him and my mom. All I did was tell her, hey, I wouldn't subject your kids to somebody that I don't know that we can trust. Of course, the fallout has been incredible. So me, still under doctor's care, just fell the other day with chest contusions, waiting for x-rays to be returned so I can find out how bad I actually hurt myself. I'm sitting here with this, trying to report this together to put together a claim that Larry has done me wrong. All of this is wrong, and none of it should have ever withstood the test of time. But Larry has been able to lie, cheat, and steal his way forward always. And now I hope Scott, the loan shark, doesn't come here and hurt me in the house where Larry's trying to evict me from unjustly because, well, last year, Mom, her estate got money out of it from parity. And actually, my sister, this is her false bullshit lies. She got it way before me. But when Larry realized I got some money out of parity, he immediately said he needed money. I imagine that. I have commissions coming. Hey, I'm behind. I need to get some money in my bank right away, and I got to pay payroll. I can get your money back in a week or two. Well, I said, Larry, you know what? If you take this money and you don't get it back to me in a week or two, I'm getting evicted from Mom's house right now because of Pat. Larry goes and he dimes on Pat. He literally has been, I want his communications from Pat because I know there's collusion here. And I know that it cut me out of my rightful inheritance, that they took me out of my belongings to. So Pat and Larry are discussing stuff, I guess. And needless to say, I tell Larry, look, you can't leave me hanging. If you leave me hanging and I gave you my money and I'm out on the streets, that's wrong. You got to at least make amends that I can stay in your house in Tampa till you pay me back my money. And if you don't do that, then I'm not giving you the money. So we made a deal, and it was a handshake too. I think I have some text messages, but he's going to pay me back my money this time for sure because I have no money. I can't go nowhere. So he's going to put a roof on this house, 11612 Windsorton Way, gets a brand new roof so that he can refinance it because the company, the mortgage company he's applied with, won't refinance his house without a brand new roof. So who pays for the roof? Scott. Yeah. So Scott comes in. Maybe not all of it, but I have to give him almost 8 grand of my money. Okay. 7,500 and 300. So 7,800 bucks. What happens? Larry gets a roof on it. And then he gets the money. And I say, hey, wait, you're going to pay me back? Well, there's a storm that just hit and I need to buy equipment. Well, what about me? He goes, well, we'll just, you want to help me? Sure. But I also wanted my money back. So as all this equipment's coming in, I'm like, I'm inventorying it and taking pictures of it and trying to understand what's going on. Is this my equipment? Because I mean, again, my money wasn't here to put a roof on the house. It was here so you could borrow it to put a roof on the house and pay me back. My money wasn't here to pay rent because I didn't want to live here and I have my own things I'm trying to do. And all all happened because my sister and without rightfully being able to or right without just cause sold my bus out from under me. She and I owned a bus, but my mom gave her the title and rather than putting my name on it, she said she put her name on it solely because I was in foreclosure and because I was in foreclosure, if in fact the foreclosure, would take my bus as well. She didn't want to lose it to that. I said that the foreclosure didn't include a bus. It never had a name of a bus or anything on there. She goes, well, I don't care. That's what I did. After mom dies, mom knew this was a bone of contention. She even wrote emails to my sister saying, you've ruined our family over this, and literally blame me because, like Larry's telling my mom, Scott's just lying. He's, medicine and stuff. Mom knew that I had the surgery. She paid for it with Art Art Gay. Before Don Nogay was Art Gay. He was supposed to pay for it. The two of them walked me into Dr. St. Louis's, the latest spine institute, and literally sat me across from 12 fucking nurses and 3 doctors and a couple of anesthesiologists, 15, 18 people. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do this. If you don't do this, you'll never be okay. Yeah, that surgery collapsed, and I fucking have a bad spine. I've lost an inch and a half in height. But thank you very much, everybody. Talked me into doing something I shouldn't do. And my mom decided that, well, I paid for your surgery, so why should I have to pay you back for the commission for the Memorial Highway? Well, she even sold Memorial Highway without giving my sister and I what Florida law requires. If the house isn't, if the property isn't held in trust and the property is outside of the marriage, then the property has to be split with the 2 adult children at 50% and the surviving heir, the widow, at 50%. That's Florida law. And this was discussed. I went to several probate attorneys and they said that's the fact. And then the income that my mom was getting of about 6,500 a month for 10 years would have been split 50% of that. My sister and I would have split 3,200 bucks roughly. But no, we didn't get a dime of it. Actually, mom kept it all. And then Don went and tried to attack me in court afterwards by saying that what I was trying to suck up my mom's hind tit, asking her for 150 bucks to pay for electricity or water. Um, Larry wrote a letter to her. I got that email, literally saying, "How would you feel if your son gave you all his money and you went around and said, I don't have to pay you back, and took trips around the world acting like you had no money? You make him feel like he's worth nothing." That's basically what the email said. Larry wrote that to my mom after going to Cynthia and talking to Cynthia about this, knowing full well that I had just given him more money after the sale of that. So this was just Larry knew he has a guilty conscience over and over. That's why he's participated in trying to keep me from going all the way down the drain because he knows he'll go to hell for sure. But he doesn't mind me just circling the drain. He likes to have me there because when he pulls me back out of it, he says, "All right, I need your help. I need your help. I need your brain. I need your wisdom." Never mind, my back is gone, my mind is gone, my shoulders are gone, and my spirit is gone because this man has cheated me out of everything. And he did so under the guise of friendship. And that's the worst tragedy of it all. He's no friend of mine. He's not even been a good person to me. He's always been there just to take advantage. There is nothing else. There was never anything else. And at the end of the day, when he would buy somebody else lunch, buy them a beer, buy them a fucking trip around the world, it would never be me. The last person he would do anything for is the one that gave him the most. I gave him everything I fucking owned and then lost what was left in the end because he colluded with Pat. And the very next day, after getting all my shit stolen from me the day before, I could see it on the camera. I got Larry a truck and I sent him and my two nephews up to get my belongings because Patrick Thomas Moody, I think, refused to let me in my mother's house to get my own belongings. And within 24 hours was giving it to junkyard to scrap company or whoever was, estate moving companies to move all that shit out and take it to the dump. Within 24 hours, Florida law requires 10 days for a tenant. And I was a beneficiary of this. And Larry blocked my money from my mom and from Pat, all of it to his benefit so that he knew his sons weren't supposed to be in this trust at all. There was no trust. My mom had thrown it away and her actions predicted she threw it away. She was trying to change her name back to Richard. She changed the house back to Richard. She put a car in the name Richard. Nothing was going in the name Nogue anymore. And Pat said he didn't care. Patrick Moody decided none of that mattered. My mom's wishes be damned. He has a chance to fuck me. And Larry helped him. And when I sent him up with a truck, Larry came back with my mom's couch, a big TV, cameras for my nephew, other stuff for them. He took stuff from, according to Emil, he's told him he took my mother's belongings up to his wife's house, Sally's. I will never know what's there, but this is all unjust enrichment. And he did so under the guise of helping me with my truck. I didn't get my bedroom set. I didn't get my bed. I didn't get my dresser. I didn't get anything of my own belongings back. I got my mom's table and some more of my mom's dishes and her china and some of her pictures and everything else of mine. 30 years of my own 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I didn't even get one bedroom full of furniture out of there. Nothing. It was pieces of shit. My sister walked off with my mom's whole bedroom set and her brand new bed that I helped my mom put together. But I didn't get anything. And everybody has laughed at me like, what do I deserve? Oh, I'm not disabled. He's not disabled. He's faking it. He's just a drug addict. All he's doing is doctor shopping. That's literally what I hear them saying. That's what they've told other people. That's what other people have told me. They told me that all I've ever done is gone out after doctors, trying to get doctors to give me medicine. And when one moves me to another, I just go to another. Not that, no, certain doctors are no longer able to provide medicine. So you have to go to a pain management and they have to put you through even more rigorous testing to figure out if you're a candidate, which means, yes, I have a fucking spinal injury for 37 fucking years, Pat Moody, Robert Dean Cowart, Michelle Jean Richard, Heimer Clark Richard. You fucktards have dealt with a disabled man as if he's a giant that's able to do anything. Go get a job. Why don't you do something with your life? I did. And Larry Lawrence Ross Clark stole all my fucking good deeds and acted like they were his own. Pat Moody knows that I called him from New Orleans and was asking him where the fuck he could help us out here with the logistics, not after New Orleans, with the logistics. I was trying to keep track of all this equipment that was mine. I told him I got all this equipment for Larry. I'm trying to keep track of it. And he was in logistics with Starkist Tuna, and before that with Del Monte. And I tell Pat Moody straight up, I said, I need help. Larry, well, you can't care more about it than the guy who owns the business. And I God damn it, you know, I owned the business. That was my equipment. It was stolen from me. That motherfucker never gave me a penny for my equipment. $380,000. I gave him $1,000 finder fee. That's what he tells Ryan, my godson, and Landon, my nephew. I gave him $1,000 finder fee. You owed me $18,000, which is what the equipment was bought for, which was my equipment fine. You nut. You no good piece of shit lying cocksucking motherfucker. You stole everything there was for yourself. Why? Because you're a liar, cheat, and a thief. Now, when we go to the judge, and we are, because you fucked up, like I said, you moron. You want to put zero controversy? Well, now it's $1 million. You put zero and I put $1 million because that equipment was $380,000. Add to that the money it generated over the next 15 years. And what do you have? Lawrence Clark, you stole $1 million worth of value from me. Unjust enrichment, unlawful conversion. Man, defamation of character, slander. What else can we talk about here? And now I still trying to play Mr. Nice Guy. I'm on my way out the door and trying to figure out the rest of my life. And you want to try and kick me? You want to steal more? You stole my silver coins? Where the fuck are my silver coins? You and Pat Moody, this Descentort executor fucking trustee that was supposed to never be. Does he have those silver coins? Is that grand theft? Executor Descentort grand theft? Is that your grand theft? Who's going to answer for the grand theft here? Sheriff's already got that call. Sheriff already had the call for service, has the case number. Eubanks, Officer Eubanks. So where do we go from here? Oh, it looks like there's a viewer. Pipe up in the chat and tell me who you are. If I know you, I'll talk to you. If I don't, I'm just telling my story so I can transcribe this, and then I can put it in front of the court. This isn't really meant to be put out there as a measure of, well, I don't care if anybody knows about it. I'm putting it out there just simply so that I can bring back the transcript and call forward the story a little bit easier without having to type it all in. But going on, so all this equipment last year, what is it? You take all the money and you turn around and you borrowed more after you got the equipment. I remember giving you what? That was, I'm not even accounting for this. I think I gave you another $3,000. But here we're literally talking about all you had to do is pay me my money. That's all the agreement was. But you got greedy again. You saw the storm. And then to prevent me from knowing what you were doing, you didn't include me in any of the work. All you had me do is at the house, all the paperwork. But that's how the equipment got stolen again. That's how you're down again. That's how the jobs weren't done again because you, like my father said many years ago, are like a horse with blinders on. You walk into a room, you talk to people, you tell them what you're going to do, you walk out and you forget what the fuck you said. And then you expect everybody else to have taken notes. Larry, you're an idiot. And you're the fucking disaster that caused everything. You stole all the money. You stole all the equipment. You fucked it all off. And then you're sitting there with your hand out expecting people to help you again. And you want me to help you? I told your boys, the only way that I'm going to pull this away from the judge, both of them had asked me at this point, what was it going to take to get you to stop? We'll help you with this. We'll help you with that. I said, this is it. You go tell your dad to bend the knee and say he's the liar that he is. He's the cocksucking liar that he is. To bend the knee and say, hey, that's the truth. Everything he said, all that stuff on that Google review, the story hasn't changed for 20 fucking years. It's been the same story told over and over again by me. Unless you listen to Larry, Larry's going to change that fucking story on you. But same story. Since New Orleans, since Katrina, everything I've said has been the same story. What Don did, all that bullshit. How in God's green earth do I remember a lie? I can't do that. I have been through too much. I don't focus on fallacies. So now that you know you've hit the wall, you tried to attack me in court, and instead in the courts you found out, well, I'm coming back at you because I know how this game's played better than you do. Now you've got a measly little disagreement, which is tantamount to zero controversy. I already showed the complete lies that you told that I wasn't making any effort, complete lies. And now I've got $1 million countersuit against you, and you want me to cancel it? You want me to withdraw it? My nephew and my godson are asking me to withdraw it. I said, why? Well, he's not going to be able to handle this. Are you coming after the house? No, no, I'm not coming after the house. I would have come after the house a long time ago if I wanted the house. I'm coming after clearing my name. I'm coming after getting the truth out of you for once and for all. I would have never put you in front of a judge, jury, executioner, but you did me. And now that I have you on the record, we're going to make you sing. I'm going to make you sing. You either tell the truth to your boys and I'll withdraw, or you tell the truth to the judge and we see where the chips may fall. I don't care. At this point, I really don't care because I'll hit you low because you hit me lower, way lower, and you hit me repeatedly. So, God is my witness. You know what's true, and so do I. And I'm not coming for you. I'm now aiming for you. You trained your guns, you trained your posse on me. Fuck you. So let's see. How much did I have to endure? Tiffany jumped off a building because of your lies. I lost my silver. You stole all my silver. What the fuck? I can't believe she lived. But I lost all my silver. That's $1,000. Then I lost all my belongings at the house. Um, you pretty much fucked me out of, let's see, the $1 million of value, but then my own life that I had built, that's another fucking 600, $700,000 just in belongings that disappeared. I mean, intrinsic value, I may be shooting high and giving you, a full replacement value on this shit, but by God, that was my shit. Nobody had a right to fuck it off. Thanks for your help. So I've always thought that I could rebuild, and I will. But you're going to have to face the judge because you can't be honest with yourself. And in that motherfucking mirror, I'm putting your face, whether you like it or not. Judgment's coming. So you have a chance to tell your boys, to tell my sister, to tell my uncle, and tell the rest of the family you're a piece of shit, lying, cheating, fucking conniving cunt of a person. Or I will. That's it. I'm gonna. Literally, I will be shooting you right in the fucking cocksucker with your own words, with your own lies, with your own bullshit. I'm gonna hand it right back to you. Why? Because I got the receipts. I know where it all occurred, how it all occurred, what occurred. I got the receipts. So when you can't formulate a good argument and it's all humming a humming a hummer, that was 20 years ago. Again, that's mens rea. Like you're saying, I haven't done anything to try and move forward from this scenario. Again, that's lies. That's obstruction of justice. You're not even trying to tell the truth to work things out. You're just trying to weigh heavy on your own initiative. Well, good for you, you bastard. Glad it makes you feel good. So once again, and I wondered who was watching. It's probably you, you fuck. Whoever it is, maybe it's Pat Moody. I'm coming for you next. I saw your paperwork, or if it's Mary, you go. You go. Whoever it is, may you be well today. And let me part with saying this: liars, cheats, and thieves. I don't have a lot of room for them. People might want to try and say that about me. God is my witness. That's never been true. I ain't a liar. I don't cheat, and I don't steal. So Usually, I've noticed in life the people that try and train that sort of narrative towards me are just that. They're the liars, cheats, and thieves. So, with that being said, I'm going to move along and I'll be back here probably within an hour or two adding to this. I've got to put some stuff together for ChatGPT, see how it all comes out, and then my presentments will be polished, well, or partially polished. And now you have the rest of the story. Wow.